good, YouTube? It's Rio Foxhead here. So before I begin, I'd like to give a shout out to a friend of mine. She's not a Yu-Gi-Oh player, so this is non-Yu-Gi-Oh related, but might interest some people. She started up a YouTube channel, and she's decided that she's going to post a video every day for a year, just talking about random stuff that's going on with her life, or whatever. So yeah, if you're just interested in seeing what it's like, or you'd like to see what she's all about, maybe, think she could use some views and subscribers, check her out. I'll post a link in the description in like some corner here, I guess. Her username is Conventional Pants. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So just check that out. So yeah, this is a video for a deck profile, and it's not Lightsworn. I did update that. I'm going to be working on it later. So. Or uploading there. This is actually Noble Rabbit, and yeah, it's better than Dino Rabbit, in my opinion. Yeah, Noble Rabbit, it's a rabbit deck that uses the Noble Knights and Warriors instead of dinosaurs, and I'll explain why throughout the video. So yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, monster lineup. I think it's 18 monsters, 9 spells, and 13 traps. So setup of the deck and the cards is similar to Dino Rabbit, but it does play differently. So 3 Sparkman because he's a light warrior and he's a normal monster. So yeah, I explained that in the Noble Knight video as to why Sparkman is good. 3 Noble Knight Artorigus, that's your normal monster lineup. 3 Noble Knight Gawain, he works with Sparkman and Artorigus, duh. 3 Photon Thrasher, Cyber Dragon that makes rank 4s, and he's a warrior. 2 Rescue Rabbit, ace card of the deck. 2 Spirit Reapers, just good for stalling and defense, and 2 Tour Guide. So I really want to get into the monster lineup because this is really where it differs from Dino Rabbit. Well, obviously, like 2 Tour Guide, 2 Spirit Reaper, and 2 Rescue Rabbit. That's standard in Dino Rabbit, so I don't need to go into those. That's just standard in any Rabbit deck, really. I'd like to, I guess I can compare the Artorigus and the Sparkman, wherever the last one. Okay, the Artorigus and the the 6 normal monsters. I can compare those to like the 6 normal monsters in a rabbit deck, you know, like Kabazals and Cerbersaurus. And then I guess the Gawains are kind of like Goibas. It's just that and Thrashers is kind of there, but the warrior monsters in this deck synergize, like they actually synergize better than the dinosaur monsters in the Dino Rabbit deck, because like this deck in testing, it lacks the absolute control that Dino Rabbit has, where it's like after I make a big Xyz play, there's no guarantee that I'm gonna like lose any of it. Whereas like Dino Rabbit, usually when it gets something out, it can keep it there because of Logia and Dolka and like all their back row. This deck can't do that because it doesn't have access to the Evolvers, but it synergizes so much better because I can open with any combination of 2 monsters, except for like if I open 2 of the normal monsters. I can, like, as long as I open like a normal monster and any of these, or if I open like Thrasher and any of these other monsters here, I can make an Xyz play. Just like Sparkman, Gawain, or Thrasher, Gawain, Thrasher, Sparkman, even like Artorigus and Double Gawain. There's so many Xyz plays, and there's so many ways to make his first turn Shockmaster, and that just really is absolutely devastating. Depending on the deck, you call monster or spell, and it screws them up really badly. And another thing I like, because like to go along with the synergy, because like all these monsters synergize in Dino Rabbit, like Sabersaurus and Kabazals. I mean, they work with Rabbit, and then like Goiba works on his own, but then beyond that, they don't really work together that well. So I feel like this has less of the control, but it has more of the consistency, and it has more consistency and synergy than regular Dino Rabbit. That's why I like it. And just I forgot what I was gonna say after that. But yeah, that's why I think like this works really well together. So yeah, I feel like I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. Anyway, and then like the rest of it's standard, like Rescue Rabbits, core of the deck, Tour Guide grabs the rabbits. I do think 2 Tour Guide is fine, and that's it. I mean, it hurts more if it gets Veilered, I guess, but it's not terrible. And then 2 Spirit Reapers just for stall, like I said. Yeah. Okay. So that's the monster lineup. It's really what differs in the deck. The rest of it's fairly this like more or less the same as regular Dino Rabbit in terms of spell and trap cards, but I'll go into it anyway. Boogamoon. Oh, yeah, there it is. Boogamoon, Dark Hole, 2 Forbidden Lance, Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, 2 MST. I got Ghost Rares. The only difference in spell cards is that instead of running a 3rd Lance, I'm doing Rhoda, just because this is a warrior deck. And yeah. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Because the monsters in the deck synergize so well, this deck can hold its own in the late game as well. It's like if you stop my plays, as long as I get 2 combinations of warriors again, I can go off again. So I can keep the pace going in the late game, whereas in Rabbit, they go off and like they try to maintain that presence. If they lose that presence, they're in a bad situation because none of their monsters work together. So that's what I really like about this. But that's the spell lineup. It's really simple. It's like the only difference between this and a regular Dino Rabbit spell lineup is that instead of 3rd Lance, I run Rhoda, because honestly, without Guaiba, I don't need 3 Lances. And then trap lineup is really it's as straightforward as it can get. 2 Bottomless, 2D Prison, 2 Fiendish Chain because I don't run Veiler, and I don't run Veiler because I run 2 Macrocosmos because my deck's not affected by it. It's just like Macro Rabbit. It's I don't need the Graveyard to go off, so Macrocosmos works great. The Solemn Duo, Starlight Road, useful in situations, but I don't like running 1-on-1 and 2 Torrential Tribute. It's standard Dino Rabbit, or not standard Rabbit because it's not Dino Rabbit. Yeah. Before we get into like the extra side, I have tested this against a lot of the meta decks. I tested what I believe will be the projected meta, which is like Atlantean, Fire Fist, Chaos Dragon, Chaos Agent, 6 Samurai, Dark World. Those are the things I'm expecting to see at a regional, like the regional March I plan on going to. And I've tested against all of them. The one I have a truly bad matchup against is Atlantean. For whatever reason, they're just so much faster than me that I just can't keep up with it no matter what I do. Fire Fist was actually my easiest matchup because I can match them in the pacing game. Agent was about half and half. Christia was a problem, but the rest of the deck was manageable. Chaos Dragon is just I could take care of Chaos Dragon relatively easy, just because Chaos Dragon is not the most consistent thing on the planet. And then Dark World's Dark World. Everything loses to Dark World, but Dark World loses to itself because it's inconsistent. So I can't really compare to Dark World. And then 6 Sam, it's so easy to beat 6 Sam just because they go off, but like if you can outpace them or like just get rid of their advantage, then you're golden because they can't really follow up to it. So yeah, I'll get into the extra. There is one proxy in here, and that's because the card's not out yet. It's coming out this Friday in that tin, so I'll explain that when I get to it. Abyss Dweller, anti-Atlantean Mermail thing. Blade Armor Ninja, the deck runs Warriors, so I have access to him. I guess you could say that Blade Armor Ninja and Excalibur are my Logia and Dolka of this deck. They're just those exclusive Xyz that I can get to. One of each, though, just because they're not as vital to the deck as like Logia or Dolka would be to Dino Rabbit. To be honest, though, they're so not vital that I've considered switching to Sparkman with Alexandrite Dragon. Haven't tested it yet though, so I don't know yet. One Cowboy, just because it's Cowboy. My Stroke, Shockmaster, so good. So many ways to make them. Utopia, Papilloperative. I actually make Papilloperative a lot, especially because like if I summon Shockmaster, that forces my opponent on the defense, so they're gonna try and setting monsters. So when I summon my next Xyz monster, be it through like Tour Guide or Rabbit or just 2 random monsters in my hand, I make Papilloperative and that knocks out their defense. So yeah, the one card I'm proxying right now is Starliege Paladynamo. For those of you who are familiar by his Japanese name, he's Radiant Photon Palladius, and he is pretty awesome. He takes 2 light Xyz monsters, or 2 light level 4 monsters, my bad. So you know, like my entire bulk of my lineup is light level 4 light monsters. By detaching 2 Xyz material, he can negate a monster's effect and reduce its attack to 0. So that's pretty freaking awesome. And then if he is destroyed by a card my opponent controls and sent to the graveyard, I draw 1 card. So yeah, he pays off really well, and he's a pretty good thing to open with if like I have no better choice, because he nets me a plus. So yeah, that's pretty freaking awesome. And I mean, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get one because he's one of the supers in the tin, or he's one of the ultras in the tin. I've calculated the chances of getting each super or ultra in the tin is about 50-50, just because of the fact that the complete set of the tin is very small. So yeah, so that's all the rank 4s. Rank 3s is just the 5 standard: Leviair, Leviathan, Acid Golem, Temp Temple, Zenmaines, and then lastly Stardust Dragon because Starlight Rock. It's a very standard extra deck. And my side deck, not entirely complete. I have one thing in here that's filler, but yeah. 2 Valor because if I face a deck that loses to Valor but doesn't really get hurt by Macrocosmos, I can switch out the Macrocosmos and put in Valor. 2 Maxi, similar thing, if just like that. Granmole is the filler. I mean, he's good enough to side, but I'd rather put something else in. I know what I'm looking for, and I'll get to that at the end. 2 Snowman Eater in case I face like a Mirror Match or a Dino Rabbit or like Hero or whatever. Snowman Eater is just a nice thing to roll. Thunder King screws up so many things. Just anything that does massive searching. I actually don't like him that much against the Fire Fists because thanks to Tenki, they can only run over it with Force Raider or Gene Warp or whatever. Like even Dragon will be able to crash into it if I'm not mistaken. Atlantean or like Mermail and stuff, I haven't tested enough to figure it out, but I feel like I wouldn't like it much in there either because they can just pop it with infantry. 1 MST because I'm only main 2, Dust Tornado just as extra back row hate, Macrocosmos just for the decks that get really screwed up to it. Mind Crush, oh my god, Mind Crush is so good this format. Like, it is seriously just freaking amazing with how many decks search. It's just Atlantean, like Mermails, they search with their Dragoons, or like even, it's like if your opponent activates the Mermail of this Megalo in their hand to special summon it, they have to activate it in their hand, and you can respond with Mind Crush to discard the Megalo out of their hand, and then they can't special summon it. And when Prophecy comes out, that's going to work on Priestess also. They like reveal the 3 spell books in their hand to activate Priestess. In fact, you chain Mind Crush, you call Priestess, and it sends it to the graveyard. Another funny thing you can do with Atlantean is that they run Allure of Darkness even though they're only Darks or 1 Gores and 2 Controller because it's so easy to search Controller because of Genex Undying. So if they activate Allure of Darkness, well, they have to have either Controller or Gores in their hand. More than likely it's going to be Controller, so they activate Allure of Darkness. You call Mind Crush, you activate Mind Crush, call Genex Controller, and then they discard whatever Genex Controllers are in their hand, and then they're probably going to have to discard their whole hand, and then you just ruined their whole day. And the last card is 1 Soul Drain because I only have one. When I get a second one, that's where their Granmole's going to get dropped. Soul Drain is good against, you know, Atlantean, Dark World, anything that works with the graveyard. So yeah. That is pretty much the entire deck. Like I said, it's tested really well against a lot of the meta decks. I would say it's probably the anti-meta of this format, and that's because it's Rabbit. It's like Dino Rabbit. It's more consistent. It takes a different approach. I like this approach way better than the Dino Rabbit, which is hope you open with Rabbit, set it to go off, and just there. Because the banning of Sangan was actually a massive hit on Rabbit. Like, people don't think it was a massive hit on Dino Rabbit. It was a pretty big hit. If you look at this, when Dino Rabbit first came out, they had 3 Rescue Rabbit, so 3 Rescue Rabbit, and then they had Sangan, which could search Rescue Rabbit, and then they had 3 Tour Guide, which could all search Sangan to search Rescue Rabbit. So that was 7 ways you could open with Rescue Rabbit, or at least get it to your hand in your opening hand. And then when they semied Tour Guide and semied Rabbit, that dropped it to 5. So there were still 5 ways to get Rabbit to your hand. And then when they banned Sangan, not only does it factor Sangan out of the equation, that factors Tour Guide out of the equation. There we go. I can't do math, which is sad because that's my major. So yeah, now there's only 2 ways to open with Rabbit, and that would be both of the Rabbits. So the deck has gone from 7 ways to get Rabbit to 2 ways to get Rabbit, and that's just a really big hit on the consistency, because you're much more likely to open with 1 to 7 cards as opposed to 1 and 2. So the hit on Sangan was a very significant hit to that deck. People, a smart Rabbit player doesn't just blindly play Tour Guide Sangan and make it exceed. They play Tour Guide Sangan and let it stay there so they can get the Rabbit. Or at least that's what I would do. I did that in Chaos Dragon. I'd play Tour Guide and summon Sangan, I'd leave it on the board, that way I can search Card Trooper. Or Raikou if I had Solar Recharge in my hand. In my Chaos Dragon deck, I don't remember if I mentioned this in my last video, I actually dropped the Super Solar Recharge because without Sangan, there's not an easy way to get any of the 6 Light Swords in my hand. So, I mean, Sangan was a significant hit. So, I feel like a better approach to Rabbit is a more consistent one, and this one's consistent because all the monsters synergize. And it works so well against the meta just because it is still the core Rabbit deck, it just approaches it differently. So, if I can make it to that regional in like late in March, there's some issues I need to get past, but I may be able to. I may take this. I converted back to my Celestia build for Lightsworn because the Light Ray build was just still too inconsistent, and it's actually been paying off a lot. I want to mess with that a little more, but I'm feeling this is going to be a better choice because not only is this consistent, it's also a meta call because of the the macros and the back row, and like it's easier to side deck and all that stuff. I feel like this is going to be a better meta call, which will take me farther in the long run. I've come to realize just by stubbornly sticking with Chaos Dragon and Lightsworn, I'm kind of stunting my growth as a player. I mean, I love those decks to death. I will play them while they're playable. But if I'm going to a tournament or a competition, I really need to make a meta call. And it's like, if I'm sticking to one deck just because it's my deck, and it's like, then that's not really me factoring in the other equations. It's like, how am I going to respond to the meta and all that? And as long as I stay within my playstyle, I feel like I'm still being true to myself, but I'm also making smart calls for the meta. Like, because I mean, this is my playstyle. It does have a control aspect to it, but it is much more aggressive than a regular Rabbit deck. It tries to push for game really quickly. I've ended games in upwards of 3 turns with this. So yeah, it's still my playstyle, and I feel like if I don't respond to like what the metagame around me is, I'm gonna stunt my growth as a player. I mean, I had this realization with Super Smash Bros, which I also play semi-competitively, or like I'm trying to get into the competitive scene. And I've realized like playing high-tier characters in that game actually pays off really well. I mean, I could just like go to a Brawl tournament and try and play Sonic, but honestly, it's gonna pay off better if I play Marth. For those people who play Brawl, you'll understand where I'm going with this. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going with this. So thanks for watching. Have any comments about the deck? Make sure to mention them. Be sure to check out my friend Conventional Pants. She's gonna post a video every day of the year, or every day for a year. She started a few days ago, so I think she's on day 3 or 4 now. Yeah, she's gonna be talking about random stuff. The last video was actually pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed a lot. But it's not Yu-Gi-Oh related, so if you're looking for another Yu-Gi tuber, she's probably not the person for you. If you're looking for just some random topics, you might be interested. Especially if you're like one of those like sci-fi fans. She's a fan of like Star Trek, Doctor Who, all that stuff. So that will probably be a frequent topic in her videos. So you'll probably want to check her out if you're a fan of any of those. So I'll post a link in the description and in one of these corners. So, or I'll post one in all of them. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and look out for the Lightsworn deck profile that I'm going to do, since I improved it and put Celestia back in. So, thanks for watching YouTube, and see you next time. Deuces.